it was delivered to them in the form of 9 pallets of documentation, research, patents, uh, information from major universities, University of Indiana and Washington, Stanford, Harvard, UCLA, a couple others that had done research on this product. And they thought, let's prove what it is. Some of their scientists took the product to some labs here in the Salt Lake City area and tested it. And after lunch, they came in and the scientists walked in and they essentially nodded. They said they have it, which was redox signaling molecules. Now, for us to understand that we had redox signaling molecules, we contacted an atomic medical physicist. Gary initially was not interested at all. He said everything having to do with salt water has already been discovered. I have no interest. But he said, I do want you to look at a couple other things. And they said, well, we thought you would say that. So they had brought a bunch of the science that some of these universities had gone through, and they handed it to him and said, take a look at this and let us know what you think. And he looked at it over the weekend and could not believe what he was seeing and what these scientists were saying. And when Monday morning rolled around, he got on the phone early and started calling them saying, how can you say this? How can you say that it does this and this and this? And they said, we don't know why it's doing what it's doing, but we can tell you that it's doing all these things. And he got back in touch with my dad and said, I'm fascinated. He said, you've got my attention. I think you have something here that the world doesn't know about yet, and I do want to study it and understand it. And he pretty much locked himself in a room up close to the University of Utah and studied it for close to 2.5 months and called my dad and said, do you have any idea what you have? And he said, no. And he said, well, I'm not going to tell you over the phone. Meet me at the office. And they walked in. And he closed the door and pulled his chair up and sat down, and he asked the question, do you know what you have? And they said, no. Well, what they didn't realize that this was the weapon of choice for the immune system, and that they are extremely valuable, and without them, you die in about 10 minutes. What they realized was that this second set of molecules would balance them and would allow them to work hard in the body without destroying other parts of the body. So one's the army, the other is the shield. And as he explained this, he said, this is called redox signaling molecules. Well, it went over their heads. They had never heard of that. It was really a new concept even in the scientific field. And he said, what's the application? He said, you're not getting what I'm saying. He said, you can't compare these to anything. There's nothing like them. They work in concert with the body, the way the body was designed to work. Your body and the immune system is much more powerful than anyone really understands. And these are the key components that make the immune system work. Given this to a lot of people, and they're coming back saying, this is tremendous, and I'm giving it to all my family, and it had gone to 20 some odd countries. And the word was really getting out that we had something special. It was helping a lot of people. Don't do anything until we've had a chance to talk. And he kind of cornered them in the room before they left, but when they were alone, and said, you know, I could live 100 lifetimes and never see something like this. This belongs to humanity, and we have to find a way to get it to people. And so they thought about it, and it was at that point where they kind of turned to each other and said, it's no longer a business play. This has so much value, so much benefit for so many people. Let's make it available. And he said, Orrin Hatch said, you know, if you have your safety and toxicity testing done, you can bring this out tomorrow as a nutraceutical and just not make any claims. And that's what they decided to do.